Welcome everyone to the L7C podcast. And today we got another tag team you never thought you would get on the L7C. We made it our 2024 goal to have different variations of crew members working on podcasts. If you're listening to this one, you've heard Justin and Evan do one together. By the time this one comes out, you've heard Chelsea and Cedric do one together. So this one, you got the pop culture expert of the L7C, Chelsea Heppert, doing a podcast with the captain, Byron Mitchell. This is the first of two. They got two special episodes planned for you, so make sure you listen to the second one that comes out. But we got the first one. So first, guys, how are you guys doing today?
I'm doing good. I'm excited to finally do a tag team podcast with Chelsea. I know we've been on like dating podcasts and various ones like that, but it's nice to do a tag team one once in a while.
I'm so excited about it. It's been a long time coming.
I was gonna say, outside of the dating one, which we've done twice before, and the end of year podcast, you two have never been on a podcast together.
Yeah.
No, we have not.
Crazy,
Just
crazy.
yeah,
ahead,
it's
Byron.
crazy. No, I was gonna say it's crazy.
So you guys pick the topics as everyone who is doing these combinations are picking the topics. So the first episode is today, and we're talking about celebrity nepotism, Nepo baby. So first, what is nepotism? And second, what got you guys picking this as the first one?
So Nepo baby or nepotism, so it kind of refers to celebrities whose parents have succeeded in the same careers or just in the industry. So like that kid has connections and just the overall jump than what an average person would have. And I don't know, Byron and I were just texting about possible topics and I was going off about a lot of things. So this was one of the topics.
Yeah, like she gave me it was like a list of three, and then we end up choosing two out of the three. But like celeb nepo babies have always fascinated me because I went to school for theater. So like all my life I've been just interested in like who's famous and like are their kids famous because of them or like what are their kids doing. So just celebrity nepotism has been just a very interesting topic for me throughout my entire life.
Okay, okay. So, Byron, you said it's been an interesting thing for you throughout your life. Like, do you ever feel, did you ever feel since you were studying theater and all of that, like you weren't going to get a part or whatever if you pursued it on a professional level because of a potential Nepo baby?
Um, Not at Capital or like any of the middle schools that I went to because there wasn't really a lot of kids who did the same activities. So I guess in theater you had like in high school you had like one set of twins who did theater, but outside of that you weren't really running into like kids who did the same activities in theater. So I wasn't really worried about that like in high school or going to Capital. Um, but actually, a fun fact: I actually do have a celebrity cousin. Lorenz Tate is a distant cousin of my family. Like, I don't know if he talks to the majority of us, but we all know that Lorenz Tate is our famous cousin. Like, I probably wouldn't, if I went into acting, which I do want to one day, I probably wouldn't get any of his connections because we've actually never interacted in my entire life.
That's really cool.
For the people who don't know who that is, Byron, who is that?
Lorenz Tate is an actor. He's played in a lot of different movies. I'm trying to think of like the one that would everyone would know. He played in Crash, um, Love Jones, Menace to Society, Ray. He was Quincy Jones in Ray, so he's played in a lot of different things.
That's awesome. Chelsea, as the pop culture expert for the podcast, what about celebrity nepotism interests you?
Um, I feel like we live in a time where it's definitely been talked about and called out a little bit more, specifically in the negative ways when you have a Nepo baby who tried to become a model and is now launching makeup. So I feel like that's kind of the trend. I feel like a lot of people stay away from the Nepo babies who go into acting, especially like the Nepo babies of the 2000s, like who were teenagers then, or like the 90s. So like Drew Barrymore and a few of those others. And I just think it's interesting because we get a lot of our great actors from great actors. Like Jane Fonda comes from a very long line of people in the industry.
No. And even just not even just want to specify with the Nepo baby. I know we're talking about celebrities, but just in general, I mean, if you're not a Nepo child, you do feel some type of way no matter what situation maybe that person was good at the thing. Like if you're trying out for a thing, Byron, and you know you ace the role, but so and so is going to get the part because they're so and so's daughter, even though or son, even though they're not as good as you. Normal people feel a type of way about nepotism.
Well, you definitely feel some type of way like, oh, they only got their role because they're so and so's kid. Like, then you're just kind of like jealous, like, oh, if my parents are famous, maybe I get this role.
Hmm.
Mhm.
I mean, that happened in Sing 2. Like the guy who
Mm-hmm.
hired the Sing cast to do a thing, he wanted his daughter to be the star of their play, and she was a terrible singer.
Mm-hmm.
Terrible. But it's like,
Mhm.
hey, I hired you guys to do this, and if you don't put my daughter at the star thing, I'm gonna fire you all. So, and then Byron, you're on the college football things. For the past almost year and a half, we've talked about nepotism with the Iowa coach,
Oh my God. Not Brian Kelly. I can't think of his name.
Brian Ferentz.
Brian Ferentz and his son. Ah, what a duo. Then I was just like, thinking about Shador Sanders and Deion Sanders. Like, would Shador be the starting quarterback of Colorado if Deion wasn't the head coach?
That's true. I mean, that's one of the things that you got to think about. And obviously, I think one of the ires of the celebrity nepotism babies is we can all do the same thing, but we know we're going to get in trouble and they're going to get off the hook.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, for
For,
sure.
for example, one of the bigger stories that happened in the past 6 years with nepotism at full effect, and you talked about some 90s Chelsea. This
Mhm.
lady, still the eye of a lot of people's eyes. We all know her, Miss Lori Longling from Full House, with her and
Oh
her
my god.
husband, who is a fashion designer. You know, was paying $500,000 in bribe to secure spots for their daughters at USC.
Mhm. And they weren't the only ones.
They were not the
Um,
only ones, but they were the famous ones who got caught in this one. And obviously, for people who don't know, Lori is from Full House.
yeah. But didn't the guy from Shameless and his wife,
Oh, you're
so
talking about William H. Macy?
yeah,
I believe.
they were involved in that too.
I believe so. I
I
just know
can't
Lori.
remember. I just remember Lori
She got prison
name.
time.
Yeah,
Mhm.
coming out a lot about it.
And like, because those kids of hers, respectfully, they were not smart enough to get into UFC.
Nope. No, no, no.
they just weren't. And you just see someone who was an American sweetheart for all of her life, especially when she hit Full House, and she marries John Stamos' character, and they have the kids and all that. She plays Rebecca, so everyone loves her, knows her, and then she's there to secretly, bribing, like, "Hey, my kid's not smart enough USC, so how about you take this money?"
Mhm.
One, normal people's parents don't have $500,000 to just bribe a university multiple times. Two,
Mm-mm.
her kids took spots from people who actually busted their butts in school, got good grades, had good interviews, but it's like, hey, we gotta kick you guys to the curb because we're getting paid
We
this
need
money. And
money.
like Chelsea said, they're not the only ones who did it. So there was a lot of people who just didn't get to that school because of nepotism.
That's such an insane story. Like, just let your kids get in by the merit of their grades. Like, if they're not good enough to go to USC, I'm sorry, go somewhere else.
Yeah, but that's not the way of the rich and the famous.
I
They
know
want the
that.
prestigious and all of that good stuff. But it's not just like celebs. You've got Nepo attorneys, Nepo
Oh yeah.
doctors,
Hmm.
like all that good stuff. But like the celebrities are the most chaotic and fun, I feel like.
Even with the celebrity thing, with the like, if these are normal parents, they'd probably have more time in jail. She only spent 2 months in prison, while the husband got 5 months, and it was like a cozy one. FCI
I
Dublin in
know.
Northern California, and she was given the 2 years probation. That expired. She was fined $150,000, which what does that matter if you're bribing a school 500K? Hundred
Hmm.
hours of community service upon the release. Then the husband got just a little bit more than her home confinement. But and then the crazy thing, after all of this, and it showed you were bribing them, her kids got to stay at USC.
Oh, I didn't know her kids got to stay. That is
Mm-hmm.
wild.
Oh yeah.
What a life. And they're doing quite well, just like in general. They're still rich, they're still famous. People forget about it and they move on.
Yeah, like I didn't remember it until Martin brought it up that
Hmm.
she was doing the scam stuff.
Yeah, but they were allowed to be enrolled, but then it said that Olivia and her sister were no longer allowed to the university, but the university said that because of a student privacy laws, it could not confirm if the students were expelled.
Hmm.
So they were allowed to stay, but then maybe, you're going to class, everyone's looking at you funny, and you're like, all right, I'm about to leave. And even
I
with the
think
kid,
as
go
a
ahead, Vaughn.
child, I think I would want to leave because that would be so embarrassing. Like, oh, you only got
Oh,
in here because your parents pay $500,000 for you to be in here. I think I would just want to leave and probably do online classes.
at a school as famous, like as famous and as brilliant as it is, like you're surrounded by smart people. You're surrounded by like the cool, quintessential, like movie poster kids. You know what I mean? Like I would immediately pack my bags and you would never see me or hear from me again. Like, gotta go by.
What if it's to Chelsea's thing, what she said earlier? It's not that you're coming in and your mom did all that, blah, blah, blah. It's you're coming in and you're the dumbass parents who got caught
Right.
Ooh, that too.
That's
Yeah.
embarrassing.
because everyone's looking at you like, oh, we can't talk to you because if your family got caught, I can't put my family at jeopardy.
Hmm.
Right. Or like to that point, their careers, like who eventually people will move on and they'll go get recast or already have, but you're gonna take a hit and like your castmates, your directors, like people who work close with you, like they're gonna second guess like is is this movie worth it or is this project worth it or whatever the case may be. And like there's definitely people who are big enough in their own right where they can sidestep a scandal like that and be perfectly fine. But
She's lucky that this scandal happened in 2019 because this was before COVID. So most people don't forgot it even
existed, yeah.
existed. And you want to talk about like, and I'm not saying she doesn't have any talent, but just in general, she's the daughter of someone from Full House. She starts a social media account, and the first video she could put out is, "I'm the real life daughter from Rebecca, Full House," and that's it. Like she has
That's
to put no effort into that to gaining all of her fans and making like good content, all that. You could just drop the "I'm the daughter of so and so," and all of her accounts are doing good. Her occupation right now is social media influencer.
uh, to be young and famous and have that as your job. That's wild.
Yeah, because this happened back now. She's 24 years old.
Mm-hmm.
So, and she's not the only one where these things like happen because there's a lot of times where musicians, their kids are like, "Hey, I want to be a singer just like you," and then you hear their kid and you're like, "Oh, you are not your parent."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or you have kids of famous people who think that they can sing. For example, Hulk Hogan and Brooke
Oh,
Hogan.
Man,
Oh my god.
What a time.
Brooke Hogan. I remember her song with Paul Wall.
Yeah, like that was classic nepotism. MTV has a show with the family. Bam.
Made on MTV music videos. Like, oh yeah, that is a great example.
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
she could not sing worth a lick, but Hulk Hogan was her dad, so give them, like you said, a TV show, Hogan Knows Best. And
hmm
then she was in like WWE and TNA because of her dad and start her own music
Sure.
career.
Just think about how hard it is to get into the music industry, to even get into like a producer's studio, let alone them answering your email, let alone them reading your email. It's just like, hey, like Hulk Hogan's like, oh, we need to get in a studio. Let me call one of my connects.
You
You have no
probably
practice. You've never sung anywhere. We're in whatever studio, Interscope Records or whoever, and we're singing. They don't know about us with Paul Wall,
right.
and you got Paul Wall on the thing, which at that point in time he was one of the hottest artists out there.
Mhm.
And you're just like, oh, that's great. I can. Did she even? I'm trying now. I gotta look it up. If she got an album,
I think
I think she did.
did.
I'm looking it up. Yeah, Undiscovered. She had two. Undiscovered in 2006 and then The Redemption in 2009.
oh Lord, Lordy Lord, she got two.
And then she had a mixtape apparently called Judgment Day.
Yep, the music, man. Her debut song debuted at number 33 on the Billboard Hot 100. It premiered on Hogan Loves Best on June 25th, 06. This is actually kind of crazy, but that was her top song.
I also forgot she had her own show called Brooke Knows Best.
Yeah, but she's rocketed to fame.
Oh yeah, then some of the people who wrote on her thing, like one of the prominent people who wrote Heaven Baby featuring Beanie Man, one of the writers was Nelly Furtado, who we all know.
Nelly, promiscuous girl.
Like it's just like you're just seeing all that and you're hearing that and you're like, man, I could sing better than her, and you're never gonna get the chance.
Right.
No.
But also, like, speaking of singing better, like siblings who go into music, there's always that competition. Because you've got Miley Cyrus and Noah Cyrus, you've got Ashley Simpson and Jessica Simpson, Hillary Duff, Haley Duff. The list goes on and on.
Did you name your girls Brittany and Jamie?
We don't talk about Jamie, so
So no, she didn't.
so no.
It's kind of crazy because I'm looking at this article too that there's hundreds of celebrities in entertainment who benefit from nepotism. Yet most don't know it. Like I did not know because I've never seen their mom. Now it makes me think some kind of way of them. I didn't know Bella and Gigi Hadid's mom was a model.
Yeah,
Mhm.
Yolanda.
Yep. Did not. I've
SI?
never seen what their mom looked like, so I had no idea.
Oh yeah, Yolanda's a babe, famous in her own right. She's also an almond mom and not the nicest, but whatever.
And then I knew this one, Tracy Ellis Ross. A lot of people don't know that she is the daughter of music legend Diana Ross.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, with a last name like Ross, you'd think that would be a giveaway.
Hey.
Also, Diana has a son named Evan Ross who did some movies. I know he was in ATL. That's the only movie I remember right now.
Mm-hmm.
And then obviously, like you already mentioned her connections, Miss Miley Cyrus with her dad being Billy Ray, and then her being the goddaughter of Dolly Parton. That helps out.
Just a little bit. But
with
like
I
was gonna say, with like Miley, I feel like people know, but they don't care because Miley's been acting / working for so long. Like they
she's
feel
proven she's proven herself.
Yeah.
And I was just gonna say, like, I always forget she has a sister, Noah Cyrus, because you never hear from Noah like at all.
Noah?
I can't.
She is in the music industry and she has a few good songs. I think it's July. If I'm feeling really depressed and moody, that's what I'll listen to. Yeah, but she definitely, their voices and styles are completely different. but you have that sibling comparison.
It's just when you sit down, like as an outsider, you're just like, man, I wish I could do that stuff. But then again, like we said earlier, you don't have the famous person, you don't have the connections. Because I mean, to quote, can't live about to quote him. To quote Jim Harbaugh, these people were bored on third base thinking they hit a triple. Because I
Who's
think
that?
he was the Michigan football coach. He coaches in the NFL. He said that about Ohio State's coach, and that's kind of being proven true. But that's besides the point. But I mean, the quote stays the same. I think it also annoys people when those children have terrible attitudes towards
Right.
like normal people, and you're just like, you literally would not have what you have if it wasn't for your parents.
Oh, for sure.
And
For
that
sure.
that gets people riled up.
I think, favorite Nepo babies who have a good attitude now, but people love to shit on like their work ethic and everything. Paris Hilton and Nicole Richie with Simple Life, where they did normal people jobs and were obviously shocked to the core and did not necessarily do good at those jobs, but they still. And I haven't watched every single episode, so if this is wrong, please come for me. But they treated the people with relatively nice manners and respect. Like they just didn't like the jobs.
Yeah, I remember watching that show a lot back in the day because it would come on right after American Idol. So my family and I would just watch that and then watch American Idol and then Simple Life. And it was, for reality TV, it was a good show back in the day. Just seeing like celebrities, because of their names, are famous and then just work normal people jobs. I think more celebrity babies should do that.
Right.
Happening.
I know it's not happening, but
Not
it
in this
should.
day and age. Now with social media, because they're like, oh, can I post this on my Insta real quick? You know that I'm working in a fast food chain, or no, you can't have your phones on the freaking line.
Right.
But that's a good example because I mean, both of those people come from money and then living that, and now they're both been just doing their own.
They're just doing their own thing.
Man, I'm
like,
trying to.
You don't really hear from Nicole Richie a lot anymore either.
False. She has her own fashion line called The Row.
Well, I guess I'm not in a fashion, so
no, I would also say that it's not something that would pop up on your algorithm. Just like Chelsea didn't know who John Harbaugh was, that doesn't pop up on her algorithm. It's
we live in two different worlds.
Yep, that is, you only know what's on your algorithm.
Yeah,
that's very.
Now, if she killed somebody, that'd be on Byron's algorithm.
Oh, for sure.
It definitely would.
But like she's doing her own thing. She's married. She's got a family. Both her and Paris are very stable and like very, very cool now. And Paris has done a lot of good for the world and has talked about like her experiences with abuse and this cult school and X, Y, and Z. And she's doing big things.
No, I was gonna say the funny thing is I actually have Paris Hilton pop up more on my timeline than I do Nicole Richie, and I don't know why.
Well, I feel like Paris is more out there than Nicole, TBH. I will give you that. Because I feel like fashion is very quiet in terms of what people turn to, like the Olsen twins, Mary Kate and Ashley, because we were talking about earlier today. Okay, first of all, my cats are playing in a box. But they have their own line and they're quite successful, but nobody knows about it because you don't associate them with that.
Yeah. Because you hear more about Elizabeth Olsen now than you do Mary Kate and Ashley.
Like, a long time ago, people didn't know. They were like, wait, Scarlet Witch is their sister? Like, especially back then, because no one was just like, oh, she's Mary Kate and Ashley's sister. That's why she got cast as Scarlet Witch in the movies like 2013, because the movie came out 2015, so you probably cast in 2013, like around that time. And now everyone, that's the most famous Olsen right now in the world.
Right. Right.
I think she surpassed nepotism. Like, I know Chelsea shared an article with me earlier about how she was talking about that she's very aware of nepotism and how, like, being the sister of Mary Kate and Ashley probably got her into like movies and stuff, but like every time I look at Elizabeth Olsen, I don't think of Mary Kate and Ashley like
Nope.
at all.
Nope.
Even
Almost a
though they all
second thought,
freakishly alike.
Yes.
which is wild. I mean, some people see her as their internet mother. Just throwing that culture reference out there. So, how do you guys feel about the parents who forcibly put their kids in the spotlight? We can't talk about nepotism without talking about probably the most famous family in the world, potentially the Kardashians.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we all know, like the fact that we know North Saint, like we know all the kids' names, like, and they're
Mhm.
putting them on their socials, obviously, and the kids are doing this. Like, how do you feel about the parents who are like forcibly thrusting their kids in the spotlight where some of the kids just want to be kids?
Right.
I don't think you should force your child to do anything. Like if they want to grow up and be famous and do like acting, modeling,
Mhm.
music, let them do what they want to do. Don't force your child to say, "Oh, I'm not gonna say it for everyone, but like some parents who didn't make it as famous, like, oh, be famous so I can live
Mhm.
off of you."
But I also feel like it's a fine line in today's society of like what that force looks like because everyone, normal people, rich people, famous people, use social media to document their kids and what they're doing.
Hmm.
But also, like, as North and a few of the other kids get older, like, part of growing up is wanting to get on social media. Like, they're going to want to play on TikTok. They're going to want to,
Oh, see, TikTok ain't about to be around when they're grown.
you know what? We're not talking about that either. Um, but like, it's very much like a normal thing as part of your childhood to want to put yourself out there and like share things with your friends. And if you're famous, your friends just happen to be a million people.
Hmm.
You know what?
So, on the other side of that, if you're putting your kids out there for that stuff, you also are putting them out there for criticism.
Right.
Yes.
So, you're exposing them to unnecessary. Because again, we talk about social media, all that stuff, and talk about the TikTok ban. We're talking about there's now states saying you can't get on social media unless you're a certain age because the
Hmm.
studies are showing, man, the younger, like when you start young and you start seeing all them negative comments,
Mm-hmm.
it does something to you. So, especially if you're famous, and this is it for North, like you're Kim Kardashian's mom. There's people who feel some type of way about her, one way, another, and then some people
Right.
could say, and then again, we already know her history, all that stuff. You're just a little 12, whatever, 13-year-old girl, and you're seeing people say some nasty things about your mom or posting some pictures from your mom from her previous thing. That's gonna make you feel a type of way that you didn't have to be open to.
Right.
Yeah, cyberbullying is definitely more prevalent now with the use of social media
Hmm.
and things. And then also with North, like her dad is also Kanye West. So not only do you have it
So you're
on
getting it from
Kim's
all the
side, you
angles.
also have it on Kanye's side because Kanye has been spewing some very
Mm-hmm.
interesting takes the last couple of years.
That is true.
Oh,
And
for
then like
sure.
your family's business out, you're just going to school and your family's business is always out there. Like, and then I think the next one who's about to maybe take she is gonna take some criticism. There's gonna be some people who make the articles. Is another Omega famous family, the Knowles Carter family, because the oldest, Blue Ivy, who has never been in any movie, is going to play the daughter of Simba and Nala in the Mufasa movie coming out.
And people will say that's because Beyonce did The Lion
Lion
King one.
King.
Yep, and she
Yep.
did Nala. Yep, and that's exactly what people. Even I said I was like, okay,
Right.
I don't even know if I've ever heard her voice.
I've seen
Um,
like
I've
clips
only
of her
seen her
like
dancing.
dancing
yeah.
at Beyonce shows, but like I can't tell you what her voice sounds like.
I mean, I have no idea. I don't know what she ever. I remember I remember when they were having that baby, and that did irritate me because I do understand because I do love Beyonce and I do like Jay-Z. But the fact, if this the rumor, whatever was true, that you had to shut down like a hospital and other people have to leave so you can that I don't care how famous you are. That ain't it.
Right.
I agree that is not it to shut down a whole hospital because you're taking valuable resources away and all that good stuff. But at the same time, I think the general public makes it unsafe for those rich and famous people to have a child in comfort, depending on the circumstances and where, obviously.
Yeah, but if my mom has cancer and she has to leave treatment because Beyonce's having a kid, I'm gonna feel a type of I don't care I don't care anything about their safety and the public.
For sure. I just like to play devil's advocate.
Oh no, I mean it's just like if you're it's true because like normal people are crazy now. I mean, but you have all the means to do every person now, like you said, Byron, we're in a social media era. You get 20-second video and your claim and it goes viral. That's it. Your claim to fame and you're golden.
Yep, your 15 minutes of fame.
It's not even 15 minutes now, it's seconds.
Yeah.
Like we've gotten soft. Back then you got to have a whole 15-minute. Now it's you get one little snippet.
One little clip. But then if you're a kid of a family, then you don't even have to do anything.
Nope.
Yep.
And you could build your whole brand on that. You could be like, I was in the hospital when Beyonce kicked everyone out allegedly, and then everyone's like flocking to your thing, clicking. I mean, it's crazy. I think the thing too, with like normal, just going nepotism in general, is like, again, if you're working with the boss's kid or the famous person, and you see that they can't do the work, and you know that if you made the same mistakes, you would get yanked. That person does it. That's where the anger comes, especially in sports. Like when you're younger sports, there's always a person who's the coach's dad or the coach's mom, like things like that. And if they're not as good, but they're the ones playing more, and you're like, WTF?
Right, you're only playing more because you're the coach's son. Cool. Doing all this hard work for nothing.
Exactly. And that's what some people are. When you go into these things, like, oh, I'm auditioning for whatever. It's like, oh yeah, and then you hear this like, oh, North Kardashian. You're just like, oh, well, I'm not gonna win this part.
Nope.
Like, I'm not gonna win this. But we talked about best. Who do you think's the worst?
Like worse as in not talented or just
anything? Just if it's not talented, terrible attitude.
This might be a controversial take.
Okay.
Ooh.
Maybe. I never got the appeal of Jaden Smith.
Oh, the Smith family. Oh.
Like Willow, yes,
him.
she's very talented. I just saw a video like a couple weeks ago on Twitter where she just like went into the studio and just like created this banger song. I was like, oh wow, she's a musical genius, but never got that ire of Jaden Smith.
But if she wasn't Will and Jada's kid, she wouldn't be able to start at 11 with whip my hair back and forth.
That's also true.
That's such a banger, though.
That was a good one, Byron. The only defense I would have for Jaden though is because he was in all those movies too.
He was,
but I would say as an adult, man, like especially the stuff he was doing with Flint, Michigan.
Yeah.
So, but I get it, but he's
talent wise. Just like, I didn't get it, but like the Flint, Michigan stuff. Oh yeah, that's great.
Oh, now I'm trying to. Oof. We already said Brooke Hogan, so that's the one. That's
she's bad.
And then we already just said Jane Smith. Chelsea, do you have any ones where you're just like, I can't believe this is so and so's kid, and they suck at something?
Kelly Osbourne.
Okay.
In the sense of, like, she got really famous and was like a socialite turned fashion star type guru, especially on E! News. And I liked her because I liked her and Joan Rivers, even though Joan Rivers said a lot of shitty shit. But then I just feel like truly Kelly got famous for doing nothing. And then since then, she just like has said so many dumb things that are completely out of touch. And you're just like, ooh, let's not.
Yeah, because she has a platform on The View where she gets to say her very
Right.
controversial take.
And I feel like she's just famous now for being famous. If you know, like, at least with Jaden Smith, he acted or has the potential of going back into that. With her, it's just kind of like, are you going to do another talk show? Because those are dying.
Yeah.
Mm. Man, I think I think I got a couple because it's actually funny. Watch Mojo came out with a video of like Nepo babies fall from grace or whatever, but that's not what I'm watching. It came out yesterday. One I don't maybe because she did my dude dirty. Lori freaking Harvey, because she does
Mm,
absolutely nothing
Mhm.
at all. She is just
yeah.
bad, and she has dated almost every single person on the block who's worth a damn. So maybe her.
Mhm.
She's up there. Um, and then I was thinking about like athletes too. Like, I don't think he's the worst. It's funny how like athletes' kids are usually typically not as good as their
That's
dads.
yeah.
But like I guess of recent, like right now, LeBron James's kid, who's trying to go to the NBA, and he did not
Mm-hmm.
have a good season at USC. And if any other person had the same season he had at USC, they would be called a freaking idiot for trying to go to the NBA. But since he's LeBron James' son, people are like, he just had this because of XYZ. He might get into the league. It's like if you take the name out and just look at the stats, you'd be like, this person should not go to the NBA.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Favorite Nepo baby.
Favorite?
Ooh,
Mhm.
favorite Nepo baby.
Mhm.
I'm gonna think of more, but since I'm in the sports of recent, since he just left Ohio State, Marvin Harrison Jr.
Yep, that's a
Since
good one.
his dad's a Hall of Fame NFL player, Colts, but that's what I'm gonna think of some more in the back. But that was just one of recent. Oh man, I do like Ice Cube's son,
O'Shea.
Mhm.
O'Shea. Yeah, because he talked about on because obviously people gave him a lot of crap because he got casted as his dad and Straight Outta Compton, but he said that
Mm-hmm.
he had to try out for it, and Ice Cube said, yeah, he had to try out for it. So,
Mhm.
oh man, best. Now I'm just,
Byron, what about you?
am I really about to say Miley Cyrus? Like, is that who am I really about to say?
I mean, she's has definitely had a good career. Like every once in a while, we'll listen to "Flowers" by Miley Cyrus because that song is a banger. Mm-hmm. I like Dakota Johnson. Like I always forget that she's Don Johnson's daughter
Mhm.
because I think she's outlived her celebrity nepotism.
Mhm.
But every time I hear like celebrity nepo baby, I always think of her first.
I too think of her. And she's for sure up there. But Zoe Kravitz, I would say, is one of mine.
That's a good one
Mhm.
because she's definitely outlived Lenny Kravitz's name.
Oh, for sure. Like they're both famous in their own rights now and
Mm-hmm.
like on equal playing field. Um, like she's a phenomenal actress. Her music is very, very good. Her
Mm-hmm.
songwriting is she is now going to be a director and that the preview looks good. Jury's still out once it comes out. Like we'll make an assessment.
All right. So, so some of the people, all right, I'm gonna drop some names for y'all who we did not know were Nepo babies or who are successful, and I'm might call them by their stage names. We already named one of them, Elizabeth Olsen,
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
one of my favorites up there. Stay in the MCU because we're only thinking about American actors, British actors. Benedict Cumberbatch, he
Really?
is a Nepo baby. Yeah, his parents were both British actors, pretty successful.
Did not know that.
Mhm. And then You already said Dakota. That was a good one.
Mm-hmm.
Gotta go with Miss Olivia Benson from Law and Order SVU.
Marissa?
Her mom was Jane Mansfield, who was a model, appears.
Did not know
And we
that.
already said Zoe Kravitz.
Mm-hmm.
You know, those are some first ones that I thought of. I was just like, and then I said Drew Barrymore, yep, Miley Cyrus.
There's so many.
Enrique Iglesias.
Stop. He's a Nepo baby.
Mm-hmm. And then George Clooney. But I'm like indifferent about George Clooney.
Carried up.
Nicolas Cage, Wyatt Russell.
Wyatt Russell looks just like his dad.
Mm-hmm.
Then you have Gwyneth Paltrow, who her kids are Nepo kids. So,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Who I still don't understand why she named her daughter Apple. I don't think I'll ever forgive her for that.
I think Apple's better than Moses, her son.
Oh,
I guess.
Like Apple is it's a better name than Moses.
Yeah.
Oh, I was gonna say, Chelsea, how do you? There's another Nepo baby who's been weaved in a lot of drama you followed throughout your life. Haley
Bieber, or I guess Baldwin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That family has a lot of controversy too.
Yeah, the Baldwins, I think they're cursed. But I like Sophia Richie better than Haley Bieber.
You didn't say you didn't say any of the Kardashians.
Honestly, they're in a league of their own.
Fair enough.
Like, at least Sophia and Haley seem more attainable / reachable to girls. And I would say Kylie is a little bit more reachable to us than like her other sisters. Even with like the surgeries and the filler and everything else, I just feel like she's the most relatable.
Mm-hmm.
But no, the Kardashians, they're in a league of their own.
At this point, just in general, with the way it's going now and people wanting to do things, are you going to need nepotism to succeed in this world? Posing question.
I think it helps. I mean, even with job hunting as a normal person, it's not necessarily about your skills, but it's about who you know and the connections that you make. You could be seated next to a director and have a good conversation and then go to apply for the same organization and then have that connection and then be able to land the job. You know?
Yeah.
I think it helps.
I think it definitely helps, but I don't think you necessarily need it. Even though there's that age-old phrase, it's not what you know, is who you know. But I think if you are talented enough, you can get by not being a Nepo baby.
Oh, for sure.
Agreed. Man. So here we talked about Nepo babies. Next time you hear the tag team of Byron and Chelsea, we're going to talk about some celebrity images and some people who ruined their movies because they did some bad things in the real world. So I know there's a few names I know Byron is going to go off on in that one. So I'm very excited for that when we're recording that next week. By the time you hear this, it'll maybe already be out, but I'm excited for that. There's celebrities. We talked about some Nepo celebrities, but there's some people who just do stupid things and they can't get out of their own way.
I'm so excited for that one. It's going to be heated.
Yes.
Are you ready to defend your girl?
Who are you talking to?
You.
Me? I'm just a moderator. I don't have to defend. Who? Like which? Ariana Grande?
Yeah.
Brother, sister in Christ. Let it go. Okay. I got a week. I don't know if I'm going to be defending. I'm just going to be. I just if when her name eventually gets brought up next week, I'll have things to say.
Yeah, we're giving you some time to prepare.
I said my piece on one of your episodes last year when we talked. As like my opinion was already formed when the wife said that Ariana wasn't a girl's girl. That my opinion was formed.
Mm-hmm. She's your girl.
Yeah, she can be my girl as a musician. She don't gotta be my girl as a person. Splitting them up, two different people, the same coin.
That's a good point.
I don't agree with that decision at all, just because of my personal morals. But I ain't gonna say that a couple days ago, Seven Rings came on and I wasn't singing. Come on now. But with that being said, that's going to be a very entertaining one. I think people are going to be defending a lot of people. But with that being said, this is the L7C podcast signing out. Thank you for listening to this episode of the L7C podcast. Be sure to like, rate, review, and subscribe to the channel. Follow us on all social media platforms, and we'll be talking to you guys soon. Take care.